Now, did you get recruited as a starter, reliever? Like, did you know what you wanted to do? I'm sure you just wanted to get innings. I mean, did you have an idea though that like I want to be a bullpen guy, a starter? Like, what was that like?
No, I got recruited as a starter.
Okay.
Um, and I wanted to start. Actually, the transition changed that sophomore year. I had thrown or started a couple of spring or fall games, and one of the last fall games, Coach Myers came up with me and he said, "You're going to throw the eighth inning of this game. And I just want you to. You're only going to throw one inning. I just want you to throw as hard as you can." And it was probably the best outing I had of that fall. And velo was up, and obviously just stuff played you know, a little bit better than as it did as a starter.
Mhm.
Um, and that's really kind of what solidified me in that bullpen. Um, and that was kind of the start of it. But I never really lost the sight that I wanted to start. I wanted to start um, my sophomore year, like that spring, and I wanted to start coming back my junior year. It might not have been a very popular opinion, but
Mhm.
I wanted to be in the talk for that rotation with Clark and Will. Um, but you know, uh, at that point, you kind of valuable bullpen asset, and that's important in college baseball. Somebody that can come in and kind of win you those games.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you saw that with South Carolina in the College World Series run. I mean, I was talking about a little bit earlier, Matt Price. I mean, where is Gamecock baseball today without, him at the back end of that? Was there a moment for you where the mindset switched? Because obviously it's much different approach being a starter versus being like a closer, or even just a reliever. I mean, it's, you're blowing it out for three guys as a closer versus a starter. You're kind of pacing yourself throughout the game. You got to go through that lineup two or three times. You got to be very strategic with the way you approach each hitter. Like, was there, because I know probably now I'm sure you embrace that, but was there a moment for you where you turned that switch on, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, and like I said, it probably goes back to the day Coach Myers talked to me and kind of gave that talk to me. It's just like, hey, this is what you're doing, and I just want you to throw as hard as you can. Um, but also, I also go back to playing against the Citadel. My that same sophomore year, I came in and didn't play well at all. I think I gave up like 3 runs, base clearing double. I thought it was pretty much over, and Brian Busher pulls me aside and is like, "Tyler, you throw 95 miles an hour, you got to act like it." And that kind of is really what flipped that switch for me. And then from then on, I don't know how many runs I gave up the rest of that year, but it wasn't many.
Yeah, let's
uh,
let's definitely talk about that 2016 season before we get into
yeah.
stats and stuff like that, because you had a really good year, and again, it started to evolve where you embraced that role. You had 9 saves on that year, but I've talked to a couple of your former teammates, Alex Destino, Braden Webb, Will Crow, and it's funny. The common theme, I think Chris Cullen maybe was on that team, but the common
Mhm.
theme with those guys is I've had a couple of them tell me that's the most fun year of baseball they've ever had. Like that team and that group of guys. Can you speak to that? Like, just talk about that group of dudes in that 2016 season.
Yeah, just I'd be right there with them. It was a very fun year, and I've been blessed to play some fun baseball. Um, and I still think about it to this day. I feel like we were better um, than just a super regional team. I really felt like that team was quite possibly the best in the country. Um, and it was just fun. I think the guys really, complimented each other well, and you know, of course, it's always easier when you're winning, but it seemed like a lot of stuff went our way
Mm.
until Oklahoma State came into town. But um, yeah, I'm right there with it. It's like everything clicked and we hit. Shoot, I don't know. I mean, what did we start off SEC play like 8-0, 10-0,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that? I mean, it
On
was
fire, yeah.
we went to Ole Miss. They were ranked higher than us. We swept them, um, and I mean, it was just a good time.
Mm.
And then, like I said, we felt like we were better than how we ended, but that's baseball sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. And that sophomore season for you, just to give people kind of an idea, 3-2 with a 2.42 ERA. You jumped from 7 appearances in 2015 to 29 in that 2016 year. You had 9 saves, 52 innings pitched, 59 strikeouts on that year. And of course, again, like I said, in 2016 in that regional, which it's really interesting. I look back, I forgot you guys lost that first game to Rhode Island, had to come back out of the losers bracket. I think people forget that, but you were named regional MVP, all tournament team. Just what clicked for you in that 2016 season? Again, I know there was a lot of development. You talked about putting the weight on, the velo jump, but, it seems like it all just came together for you. And that was, on paper, and we'll talk about for reasons why, your best year as a Gamecock.
Yeah, I mean, really, I was very mechanical and I had very sound mechanics coming out of high school, and really just that missing piece would be the physical aspect of it. And once I got that and maintained my athleticism, everything pretty much clicked. And I had a good slider, I had a good changeup. It was a 3-pitch mix, all for strikes, and there was a lot of luck that went my way, but it really just clicked. It wasn't anything that I really sat down and was like, hey, I need to change these pitches because they're not working. It was more just a development and a time process, and that's really what took me. And it just ended up playing out.
For sure. And let's talk a little more about the regionals, though. You were locked in, obviously. Like I said, we talked about the accolades, but you guys lose, and you're hosting, obviously. This is at Founders Park. You're hosting. You lose to Rhode Island Friday, 5-4. And so what people don't realize, you got to be the road team. You got to be in the road dugout you guys were the road team 3 of the next 4 games. And just after a tough one against Duke, ran through. You guys definitely got your payback back to Rhode Island when you beat them 23-2 the next time you played them. I almost feel bad for them.
Yeah.
But then you sweep UNC Wilmington, beat them twice, 10-1, and then 10-5. Again, you obviously were locked in during that run. Just kind of talk about that again, losing that first game. And it's not easy. It's not easy to go through the losers bracket and find a way to win it. And you're thinking to yourself, the pressure's on. We're hosting. Like, you never want to lose as the host. Just talk about that run you guys made.
Yeah, well, I know that, for a lot of college baseball coaches, that format isn't one of their favorites, because you're going to get these small schools that come in and they obviously have a guy because they either won their conference or they had a really outstanding year, because that's what they got to do to be in a tournament. So they usually have one guy that they're able to recruit, and that's who they pound their innings. And that's what Rhode Island did to us. They had that starter, and he rode them the rest of the way. I think we had a really good first inning against him, or it was early, and he ended up shutting us down. And then, like you said, from then on, you're pretty much down for the count. But I remember that Rhode Island game specifically because I remember we were just pouring on runs, and we just didn't care. Like we would have put up 35 on them if we were given a chance. Like it really didn't matter. So like you said, you almost felt bad for them. That was kind of what we were going for. I just remember the energy in the dugout being more of like not even energetic. It was just pissed off. So that was fun to be a part of. And then obviously UNCW was like highly touted coming in. I know,
good baseball program, really good.
Yeah,
program.
I know everybody pretty much pegged us to lose. I remember a lot of people pegged us to lose, even if we, won our first game. Given just the setup that we had. So to quiet their offense and their all conference offense that everybody talked about was special, and something our pitching staff really set out to do.
Yeah, and something I don't want to gloss over too, and something that should be mentioned, that 2016 year, again, people might forget, you guys won the SEC East. And that's a hell of an accomplishment, bro, because you think Florida, Vanderbilt, Georgia, it's not easy. That's a fight at the top, and you guys were able to win it. And I think that speaks volumes, like you said, just to how good that team was.
Yeah, not only just win the SEC East, but we lost the SEC by half a game.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember, but the game that we didn't play was against Florida, and Adam Hill had a no-hitter going into it, and when it got postponed.
Mhm.
And
Oh yeah, I do remember that. Yeah.
so that half game could have been covered.
Yeah.
But you're right. I mean, we did win the SEC East, and it just kind of got glazed over. It's just what's expected, and of course, that's why you go to programs like that, so that you expect to win those divisions, and hopefully have a chance to do something special.
Yeah, and I think it's funny you bring that up because I think that's something that I know I fight as far as talking to fans and like because that run from 2010 to 12, I mean, was obviously awesome, but
Mhm.
it's like, fans expect that. They just come to expect that every single year. And you talk to any baseball guy, and especially obviously you, that you've literally worn the uniform and you've chased that, that destination of going to Omaha. Like people don't appreciate like how hard it is. Like it's so hard to get there. I mean, there's a lot of other good baseball teams, obviously, especially like you
Yeah,
guys. You got into that final group of what is it, 16 teams when you got the Super Regionals.
yeah,
You guys played Oklahoma State at your house, and unfortunately, lost to them 5-1 and 3-1. They obviously had some studs on the mound, but you just got to appreciate how tough it is. I mean,
yeah,
what Carolina did from 10 to 12 is like it needs to be recognized as how
yeah,
incredible it truly was.
yeah. Especially 11.
Yeah.
I mean, that was just flat out dominance. But if you're going to talk about like, you know, how it, like sports that could be considered, you know, something that you can make a dynasty in, I think baseball would probably be the last.
Yeah. No,
Like,
seriously. It's such
I
a
mean, it's
random
incredibly
game.
hard.
It's such a
Yeah.
random game.
It's not football and it's not basketball. It's just, you need to have 9 guys
Mhm.
through and through. And not only do you need to have 9 guys, but they need to be playing together. It's not basketball. It's not, you have 2 guys and they carry you.
Yeah.
You got to have at least 1 through 7.
Mhm.
And
I
that's
mean,
just what
correct
it
me if
is.
I'm
Plus
wrong, but
3 pitchers.
when's the last time an MLB team won back to back? I mean, I feel like it's been a minute, right? I
Good
mean,
God. I don't even know.
like maybe the Yankees. Has it been that? I mean, it's
Yeah.
been like you're saying. It's just
Mhm.
it's such a random game, and especially the level you're at, which we're going to get into in just a second. The pieces are just ever changing, and you got to have that group of guys that can do it. But let's just talk about briefly that Oklahoma State Super Regional. Again, you get to that point. You guys had a great season, like you said, but you're at South Carolina, and the expectation is to make Omaha, and that's what fans want. That's what you guys obviously want. That's the ultimate goal. I know it crushed you to fall short, obviously, but you look back at that season. I mean, there's got to be a lot of positives you take away and great memories from a season like that.
Oh yeah. Oklahoma State had, I just remember Thomas Hatch, who's still around to this day, throwing 95-mile-an-hour sinkers and cutters, and that's advanced. I mean, that's Carmen type, pitching. That's first round S. That's not something that you just breeze over. So obviously he shut us down, and
Right.
they had a guy the next day, and their offense was able to perform a little better than ours. But at the end of the day, I remember leaving the parking lot, and it's like, we did what we could.
Mm.
There wasn't much else to say. It was just, you accomplished a lot, and if you looked at it without much negativity, it was something that you look back on, and you'll appreciate for the rest of your life. And still to this day, I definitely do.